Every human being carries within them a hidden power that is far greater than any external force in the world, the power of a focused mind. The most extraordinary truth about life is that everything begins in the mind first, long before it becomes reality. Every building, invention, empire, and idea that has ever changed the world started as a single thought in someone's mind. But a thought alone is not enough. It must be held, nurtured, and focused upon with unwavering clarity and belief. The moment the mind learns to concentrate its energy on one definite purpose, life begins to transform in ways that seem almost miraculous. Inside each of us lies an incredible reservoir of potential waiting to be directed by focus. Yet most people live unaware of this gift. They drift through their days scattered and unfocused, letting their attention be pulled in 1,000 directions, never realizing that the greatest force for change was always within their own thoughts. The power of a focused mind is not about intelligence or luck, it's about direction. A river only gains strength when it is channeled. In the same way, a person becomes powerful when their mental energy is no longer wasted on distractions, but instead guided by purpose. When you focus your mind, you command your world. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You start to act with intention rather than reaction. You feel a deep sense of clarity that cuts through confusion because you know what you want and why you want it. Focus turns ordinary people into visionaries, dreamers into doers, and desires into reality. It is not a mysterious gift reserved for a few. It is a discipline that anyone can develop with awareness and commitment. The difference between a wandering mind and a focused one is the difference between existence and excellence. A wandering mind moves in circles, reacting to whatever appears, never gaining momentum. But a focused mind moves forward with precision, fueled by purpose. See, focus is the seed of all success. It sharpens the imagination, fuels persistence, and ignites the inner drive that pushes a person to rise again after every setback. Without focus, even great talent fades into mediocrity, but with focus, even average ability can achieve greatness. The truth is that the world outside cannot be controlled, but the mind within can. Every challenge, every circumstance, every outcome begins with the direction of thought. When your mind is scattered, life feels chaotic. But when your mind is focused, life begins to align with your vision. This alignment is not magic. It's the natural result of clarity. You start attracting people, ideas, and chances that resonate with your energy. You make decisions with confidence. You stop being ruled by fear or hesitation. You start living with purpose instead of drifting through life on autopilot. To understand the power of a focused mind, you must see it as a light beam. When diffused, light barely warms the skin. But when concentrated, it becomes a laser, able to cut through steel. Your mind works the same way. Every scattered thought weakens its strength, but every moment of focus increases its impact. This is why some people achieve in 1 year what others fail to do in a lifetime. They have learned to direct the full energy of their thoughts toward one aim. The power within you is not waiting for permission, it is waiting for direction. The moment you decide what you truly want and begin to think only in alignment with that goal, your focus will awaken that inner strength. You will begin to move with purpose, act with confidence, and think with clarity. The mind that is focused becomes unstoppable because it no longer fights against itself. It is aligned, unified, and powerful. Focus is not about how much you can do. It's about how deeply you can commit to what truly matters. The moment you learn to channel your thoughts, you step into a realm of control that few ever experience. You become the creator of your destiny, the architect of your life. Every great transformation begins the same way, with a single focused thought that refuses to die. And within that thought lies all the power you will ever need to change your life completely. Distraction has become the silent thief of modern life. It steals not only our time, but our clarity, our creativity, and our dreams. The truth is, we live in a world designed to scatter our attention. Every sound, every notification, every piece of information is fighting for a fragment of our focus. The mind, once calm and directed, now struggles to stay centered even for a few moments. And yet, focus is the foundation of all achievement. Without it, even the most brilliant idea dies before it ever takes form. Distraction is not just an inconvenience, it is the destroyer of potential. It slowly drains the energy that could have built empires, written books, and changed lives. Every moment we surrender to distraction, we give away a piece of our power. We trade purpose for noise, progress for pleasure, and clarity for confusion. The greatest danger of distraction is that it feels harmless. A few minutes scrolling, a few hours lost to meaningless tasks, it doesn't seem like much until we look back and realize days, months, even years have slipped away with little to show for them. The mind, left unfocused, becomes like a wild horse, running endlessly but never reaching a destination. Focus, on the other hand, brings direction, purpose, and calm. It gives us control over the one thing we truly own, our attention. Every great accomplishment in history was created by someone who learned to silence the noise around them and direct their mind toward one clear objective. The mind is powerful beyond measure, but only when it obeys your command. Without control, it becomes your greatest enemy. With control, it becomes your greatest ally. Distraction doesn't only come from outside sources. It often begins within. The endless chatter of mind, the replaying of old memories, the worry about the future, all pull our focus away from the present moment. True focus begins when you learn to quiet that internal noise. When you are no longer a slave to every thought that passes through your mind, you begin to take back your life. You start to notice how much energy is wasted on what doesn't matter. Every time you allow your attention to drift toward negativity, comparison, or doubt, you weaken your ability to move forward. But when you train your mind to stay centered, to return to your purpose again and again, you become unshakable. Distraction may seem like the natural rhythm of modern life, but mastery belongs to those who rise above it. To control your focus is to control your future. The person who learns to direct their attention at will becomes powerful beyond measure. They can learn faster, work deeper, and achieve greater things in less time. Focus turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results because it channels every ounce of energy in a single direction. A distracted person may work hard, but a focused one works effectively. A distracted life feels empty, but a focused life feels meaningful. The power of focus lies in its ability to turn chaos into order, potential into progress, and thought into achievement. You cannot live a fulfilled life while being consumed by distractions. Every great dream requires sacrifice. The sacrifice of convenience, the rejection of noise, and the decision to protect your attention like it's your most valuable possession, because it is. Every second you spend in distraction is a second you could have invested in your growth, your vision, your peace. When you learn to master your attention, you begin to reclaim your time, your thoughts, and ultimately your destiny. The world will always offer you distractions, but the choice to focus will always be yours. The moment you choose focus over distraction, you begin the transformation from ordinary to extraordinary. A focused mind begins with a definite purpose. Without a clear goal, even the most determined effort becomes scattered and ineffective. Purpose is the compass that gives direction to thought. It tells the mind where to go, what to seek, and what to reject. When you lack a definite purpose, your energy disperses like smoke, constantly moving but never forming anything solid. But when you define your purpose clearly, every thought and action starts to align toward it. Napoleon Hill taught that the starting point of all achievement is a definite purpose, a single burning desire that dominates your thoughts and guides your choices. This principle remains timeless because it reflects the deepest truth of human success. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. The mind thrives on direction. It craves clarity and vision. When it knows what it wants, it becomes unstoppable. Every great achievement begins when a person declares, "This is what I will accomplish," and refuses to let go of that vision no matter how difficult the path becomes. A definite purpose gives you strength when challenges arise and clarity when confusion sets in. It acts as your internal North Star, always pulling you back to what truly matters. Without it, the mind wanders aimlessly, chasing one interest after another, never staying long enough to create impact. But with a clear goal, you become focused, disciplined, and driven. Purpose transforms energy into progress, and progress into fulfillment. Definite purpose is not just about knowing what you want, but also why you want it. The deeper the reason, the stronger the motivation. When your goal is tied to something meaningful, something that touches your heart, you unlock a level of focus that cannot be shaken by failure or delay. Purpose creates emotional fire. It turns ordinary effort into relentless pursuit. When the mind knows that its purpose matters, it no longer needs constant motivation. It becomes self-sustaining. Every challenge becomes fuel. Very setback becomes a lesson. Every small victory becomes proof that the dream is real. The tragedy is that most people never decide on a definite purpose. They live reactively, doing what others expect, chasing what seems convenient, or simply surviving day by day. Without direction, life feels dull, scattered, and uncertain. But the moment you choose a purpose, something that ignites your soul, you awaken the sleeping giant within you. You start living intentionally instead of accidentally. Each day becomes an opportunity to take one more step toward your dream. Every decision becomes clearer, every distraction weaker, and every effort more powerful. Purpose simplifies life. It helps you say no to what doesn't serve you and yes to what truly matters. It eliminates confusion and gives meaning to your struggles. When you have a definite purpose, even pain has a purpose. You stop wasting energy on doubt or comparison because you're too focused on building your vision. You begin to notice how life aligns with your intention, how opportunities seem to appear at the right moment, and how challenges shape you into the person capable of fulfilling your purpose. The principle of definite purpose is the foundation of greatness. It is the anchor that keeps your mind steady amid storms. It is the light that cuts through uncertainty and fear. Once you define what you truly want and commit to it with every part of your being, you become a force of nature. You stop waiting for permission and start creating your path. A clear purpose gives birth to focus, and focus gives birth to transformation. When your mind is directed by purpose, life begins to move in your favor. The world cannot resist the power of a person who knows exactly what they want and refuses to be distracted until it becomes reality. Every thought that passes through your mind holds creative power. Whether you realize it or not, your thoughts are constantly shaping your reality. The mind is like a magnet. It attracts experiences, people, and opportunities that match its dominant patterns of thinking. When you fill your mind with fear, doubt, and negativity, you draw more of the same energy into your life. But when your thoughts are filled with clarity, belief, and determination, you begin to attract the resources and conditions that align with your purpose. This is not magic. It is the law of cause and effect at its highest level. Every great change begins with a change in thought. Before you can transform your circumstances, you must first transform your mindset. The statement, "thoughts become things," is more than a motivational idea. It is a universal truth. Every invention, every movement, every empire that has ever existed began in the mind of someone who dared to think differently. The Wright brothers thought of flight before a single airplane touched the sky. Thomas Edison imagined light before the bulb existed. They didn't wait for proof. They believed first, acted next, and created results later. Their focused thought became the seed of reality. Your life follows the same principle. The quality of your life mirrors the quality of your thinking. What you continually dwell on, you eventually experience. The mind cannot produce greatness if it is constantly entertained by trivial or negative thoughts. To create success, you must think success. To live with peace, you must think peace. Every thought you hold sends an invisible signal to the world around you. When you think with faith and confidence, you radiate a vibration that attracts people and events that match that frequency. This is why positive, focused individuals seem to experience more opportunities. They are tuned to a higher state of thought. The mind, when directed with focus, becomes a creative instrument capable of turning imagination into form. But when left uncontrolled, it becomes a destructive force, breeding fear, worry, and stagnation. The mind is neutral. It simply manifests whatever it's fed. Feed it with doubt, and it will build limitations. Feed it with belief, and it will build bridges to your goals. It's not enough to wish for better results. You must think them into existence with purpose and persistence. Every day you are planting seeds through your thoughts. Most people don't realize this, so they allow their minds to wander aimlessly, planting weeds of worry and confusion. But those who understand the power of thought take control of what they allow to grow in the garden of their mind. They replace "I can't" with "I will." They replace fear with faith and excuses with action. Over time, these deliberate thoughts become powerful beliefs, and those beliefs begin to shape behavior. Eventually, behavior shapes destiny. That is how thought turns into reality. step by step, through focus and consistency. If you desire to change your life, you must begin by changing the way you think. Every negative belief must be challenged. Every self-doubt must be replaced with a statement of faith. When you think in harmony with your dreams, the world begins to reorganize itself around your vision. The power of thought is infinite, but it requires discipline. You cannot build a strong mind by allowing every passing idea to dictate your emotions. Instead, choose your thoughts like you would choose your company, wisely and intentionally. Direct them toward growth, success, love, and gratitude, and you will begin to see those very things unfold around you. Remember this truth: your mind is the architect of your destiny. You are constantly designing your future, whether consciously or unconsciously, through the thoughts you allow to dominate your mind. When you focus your thinking on what you truly desire, you command the creative forces of the universe to work with you. Every great change begins with a single, clear, unwavering thought. When that thought becomes belief and belief becomes action, reality begins to bend in your favor. The moment you take control of your thinking, you take control of your life. Focus is not a gift reserved for a few. It is a discipline, a skill that anyone can develop through daily practice. A focused mind is not born, it is built. Just like the body grows stronger through exercise, the mind gains strength through consistent mental training. Every day offers the opportunity to sharpen your focus, to silence the noise, and to direct your thoughts toward what truly matters. But this requires commitment. The world constantly tries to pull your attention away from your goals, tempting you with distractions, fear, and comfort. To remain focused in a distracted world is not easy, but it is possible, and it begins with discipline. Mental discipline is the art of choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. It's the ability to stay centered even when everything around you demands reaction. The first step to developing mental discipline is awareness. You must become conscious of where your attention goes. Most people live unconsciously, jumping from one thought to another, reacting to every impulse without realizing how much power they are giving away. Discipline begins the moment you pause and notice what you are focusing on. Ask yourself, does this thought move me closer to my goal or further away from it? Every time you redirect your attention from what is meaningless to what is purposeful, you strengthen your mental muscles. Focus grows through repetition, by returning your thoughts to your purpose again and again, no matter how many times they wander. This simple habit, practiced daily, builds the foundation of a disciplined mind. Mental discipline also requires control over emotion. Feelings like fear, anger, or doubt can easily disrupt focus if they are not managed. But when you learn to observe emotions without being controlled by them, you gain mastery. The disciplined mind doesn't run from discomfort. It remains calm and chooses response over reaction. When you stay centered in the midst of chaos, you pro. V, that your mind serves you, not the other way around. This calmness is the birthplace of power. From it comes better decisions, greater clarity, and deeper confidence. A disciplined mind is not one that avoids emotion, but one that directs emotion toward meaningful action. Consistency is the secret ingredient that transforms mental discipline from a concept into a lifestyle. The mind cannot become strong through occasional effort. It needs daily commitment. Just as a musician must practice every day to stay sharp, a focused individual must train the mind through small habits, meditation, journaling, reading, visualization, or simply sitting in silence. These habits clear the mental clutter and strengthen your ability to hold a single thought with intensity. Over time, this practice changes not just your focus, but your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone in control, someone who chooses thought instead of being ruled by it. Discipline, when practiced long enough, becomes second nature. Mental discipline is the bridge between intention and action. Many people have dreams, but few have the discipline to stay focused long enough to realize them. The disciplined mind doesn't rely on motivation because motivation fades. It relies on consistency and purpose. It does what needs to be done even when the excitement is gone, even when results haven't yet appeared. This endurance creates power. It is the quiet strength that separates those who wish from those who achieve. A disciplined mind is a peaceful mind. It no longer chases every passing thought or emotion. It no longer fears uncertainty or change. Instead, it learns to trust itself, to stay anchored in purpose regardless of what happens outside. And when the mind becomes disciplined, life follows. Decisions become clearer, habits become stronger, and success becomes inevitable. Discipline is not about control, it's about freedom. The freedom to choose your thoughts, to direct your life, and to live with purpose. E, instead of chaos. When you master your mind, you master your world. Simplicity is the hidden foundation of every focused mind. The more complicated life becomes, the harder it is to stay centered. When your environment, schedule, and priorities are cluttered, your mind cannot focus because it's constantly being pulled in too many directions. Clarity and focus grow in the soil of simplicity. When you strip away what doesn't matter, you create the space for what does. Most people believe that success comes from doing more, having more, and achieving more, but in truth, success comes from doing less better. Simplicity is not about deprivation, it's about precision. It's the art of cutting through the noise so that every thought, every action, and every effort serves a purpose. A simple life doesn't mean an empty one. It means a meaningful one. It means removing what drains your energy and amplifying what fuels your growth. When your life is filled with unnecessary tasks, toxic relationships, or endless distractions, your mind becomes foggy. You wake up tired, spend your day reacting, and end it feeling unfulfilled. But when you intentionally simplify, you regain control. You stop chasing every opportunity and instead focus only on the ones aligned with your purpose. You stop filling your time with activity and start filling it with intention. Simplicity brings mental space, and in that space, ideas can breathe, focus can sharpen, and purpose can expand. Simplicity also requires courage. It takes courage to say no to people, to projects, to things that don't align with your values. Society often glorifies busyness, but busyness is not productivity. A full schedule does not equal a full life. Simplicity demands that you make hard choices, that you prioritize what truly matters, even when it's uncomfortable. It challenges you to let go of things that may look impressive but do not bring peace or progress. The truth is, clutter is not only physical, it's emotional, mental, and spiritual. Every unresolved thought, every unnecessary worry, every attachment to the past adds weight to the mind. The more you release, the lighter and more focused you become. A focused mind thrives in stillness. When life is simple, you can think clearly. You begin to notice details that were once hidden under the noise. You find creative solutions faster because your mind is not overloaded. Simplicity allows you to move with intention instead of rushing out of habit. It gives you the power to pause, reflect, and act with purpose. In that calmness, focus deepens. You become more aware of your thoughts and more deliberate in your actions. You begin to realize that success is not found in complexity but in clarity, the ability to see what truly matters and give it your full attention. Creating simplicity is not a one-time act, it is a habit. It's about constantly asking, does this add value to my life or distract me from it? Each time you remove what doesn't serve your vision, you strengthen your focus. Start with your environment. Declutter your space. Organize your surroundings and remove anything that causes unnecessary mental noise. Then simplify your routines. Do fewer things, but do them with excellence. Finally, simplify your thoughts. Stop overanalyzing. Stop worrying about what you can't control and center your mind on gratitude and growth. Simplicity doesn't make life smaller, it makes it sharper. It gives you clarity, peace, and power. It allows you to pour all your energy into what truly matters instead of scattering it across meaningless distractions. A simple life is a strong life because it channels energy efficiently. The mind that lives simply can focus deeply, create freely, and act decisively. In a world that rewards complexity, the one who masters simplicity stands apart, calm, clear, and unshakable. When you embrace simplicity, you give your mind the space to focus, and with focus, you give yourself the power to create a life of true fulfillment. Real transformation doesn't come from giant leaps or sudden breakthroughs. It comes from the quiet power of small, consistent habits practiced every single day. The mind becomes focused not by bursts of motivation, but by steady repetition. Small habits may seem insignificant at first, but over time they compound into extraordinary results. Each small, deliberate act of focus, reading for 10 minutes, reflecting in silence, writing goals, visualizing success, staying disciplined, builds the structure of a powerful mind. It is the daily discipline of the small that creates the greatness of the large. The truth is, your habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your destiny. You do not become focused by wishing for it. You become focused by living it through the habits you choose each day. Every great transformation begins with a single small decision. The decision to rise early, to study instead of scroll, to speak with intention instead of reacting in anger, to take one more step when quitting feels easier. These simple acts, repeated daily, reprogram the mind. They create new neural pathways that strengthen focus and discipline. Just as a river carves through rock not by force but by persistence, your habits carve the structure of your character. The secret is consistency. A single act done once changes nothing. A small act done daily changes everything. The most successful people are not the ones who make the biggest moves. They are the ones who master the smallest ones. They understand that greatness is built in layers, one habit at a time. Small habits also carry the power of momentum. Every positive action you take reinforces your belief in your ability to change. Each victory, no matter how small, tells the mind, I am capable. This builds confidence and energy, fueling even greater action. Habits compound not just in results, but in identity. When you repeatedly act like a focused person, you begin to see yourself as one. And once your identity shifts, your behavior naturally aligns with it. The person who sees themselves as disciplined will naturally make disciplined choices. The one who sees themselves as distracted will continue to drift. Your habits are mirrors reflecting who you believe you are. To change your life, you must start by changing those small daily reflections. The beauty of small habits lies in their simplicity. They don't require perfection, they require persistence. The human mind often overestimates what can be done in a short time and underestimates what can be achieved in the long run. But time is the great multiplier. One page read each day becomes a library in a year. 10 minutes of daily focus becomes a lifetime of mastery. Small habits turn the impossible into the inevitable because they build discipline slowly and naturally. When the mind learns to value small progress, it stops fearing failure. It understands that growth is not about speed, it's about direction. But small habits also require patience. The results are not always immediate, and this is where most people give up. They expect transformation overnight and feel defeated when progress seems invisible. But just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't happening. Change begins beneath the surface, quietly, invisibly, steadily. The roots grow before the tree appears. Every day you practice focus, discipline, and simplicity. You're strengthening those roots. One day, the results will burst forth so clearly that others will call it success, but you will know it was the small habits all along. In the end, it is not intensity that builds a focused life, it is consistency. The power of a focused mind grows through simple daily habits that align with purpose. Every time you choose to focus, you build strength. Every time you repeat a positive habit, you reinforce belief. And every time you persist despite boredom or distraction, you train your mind to follow your command. Greatness is simply small focus, multiplied by Tim. E. The mind that honors its daily habits is the mind that masters its destiny. Guarding the gates of the mind is one of the most powerful disciplines you can ever develop. Your mind is the command center of your life. Everything you experience, believe, or achieve flows from it. But just as a fortress must be protected from invaders, your mind must be guarded against thoughts, influences, and environments that weaken your focus. Every day, countless messages, voices, and opinions attempt to enter your mental space. Some empower you, but most drain your energy and fill you with doubt or distraction. If you allow everything in, you lose control of your direction. The mind, no matter how strong, cannot stay focused when it is constantly absorbing negativity, gossip, fear, and noise. Guarding your mind means choosing carefully what you allow to take root in it. You become the gatekeeper of your own consciousness, letting in only what strengthens your vision and rejecting what weakens it. Your external environment plays a huge role in shaping your internal world. The people you spend time with, the media you consume, the conversations you entertain, all feed your mind. If you constantly expose yourself to negative influences, your thinking will slowly reflect that negativity. The law of association is powerful. You begin to mirror the energy you are surrounded by. That is why successful, peaceful, and focused people are intentional about who and what they allow near their minds. They surround themselves with positivity, with people who challenge them to grow, with words and ideas that nourish their goals. They understand that the mind absorbs everything it touches. Protecting your focus means creating an environment that supports your growth rather than sabotages it. Guarding your mind also means mastering your inner dialogue. The most dangerous intrusions often come not from the outside world, but from within. Doubt, fear, and self-criticism are internal thieves that steal clarity and confidence. The focused mind learns to silence these voices by replacing them with powerful affirmations and constructive thought. It refuses to entertain self-defeating stories and instead focuses on solutions, progress, and gratitude. Every time you choose a positive, purposeful thought over a negative one, you strengthen your mental defense system. You become more resilient, more grounded, and less affected by external chaos. The mind becomes calm, centered, and sharp. But guarding the gates of the mind is not about isolation. It's about filtration. It doesn't mean you shut yourself off from the world, but rather that you choose what influences you. Just as you would not eat everything placed in front of you, you should not think everything placed in your mind. You filter information, emotions, and experiences with awareness. You ask yourself, does this uplift me or drain me? Does this help me move forward or hold me back? With that awareness, you begin to control your mental diet. You feed your mind with growth, inspiration, learning, and faith. And as your thoughts grow healthier, your life begins to mirror that transformation. This mental protection must be intentional and continuous. Just as you would clean your body daily, you must also cleanse your mind. Spend time in silence. Reflect on your thoughts. Replace toxic content with wisdom, fear with faith, and negativity with gratitude. Over time, your focus sharpens. You begin to feel mentally lighter and emotionally stronger. You stop reacting to every problem and start responding with purpose. You realize that peace is not the absence of problems, but the mastery of thought. When you guard your mind, you reclaim your power. You stop being a victim of the world's noise and start becoming the creator of your world. You no longer allow fear, gossip, or negativity to invade your focus. You live deliberately, think clearly, and act decisively. The focused mind is not one that avoids life. It is one that chooses how to engage with it. Every day you are either opening or closing the gates of your mind. The choice you make determines whether your energy is scattered or strengthened. Protect your thoughts, and you protect your destiny. For a guarded mind is not just a peaceful one, it is an unstoppable one. Persistence is the soul of focus. It is the invisible force that keeps the mind anchored to its purpose when everything else tries to pull it away. No great achievement has ever been built without it. Focus without persistence fades the moment difficulties arise. But when persistence fuels focus, it becomes unbreakable. Every dream, no matter how grand, will be tested. Obstacles, setbacks, and delays are not signs of failure. They are the training grounds of the focused mind. They separate those who only wish from those who are truly committed. Persistence is not about never falling. It's about rising again and again with greater clarity each time. A focused mind understands that endurance is the bridge between effort and success. It knows that while talent opens the door, persistence keeps it open long enough for transformation to walk through. Life will always challenge focus. There will be moments of doubt, times when the goal feels too distant, and times when progress seems invisible. But persistence refuses to let go of the vision. It keeps moving forward when motivation disappears. It keeps believing when the world stops believing. Persistence is what turns someday into inevitable. A persistent mind doesn't see failure as defeat. It sees it as feedback. It learns, adjusts, and tries again with sharper awareness. Every setback strengthens it. Every delay deepens its discipline. The more the mind persists, the stronger its focus becomes until giving up is no longer an option. It's simply unthinkable. The key to persistence is purpose. When your goal is deeply meaningful, you will find the strength to endure any hardship. Superficial desires fade when tested. Ed. But a vision rooted in purpose burns brighter in adversity. The focused mind draws energy from its why. It reminds itself that pain is temporary, but purpose is eternal. Challenges become stepping stones, not roadblocks. Every time you push through difficulty, you build resilience. Every time you keep going when it would have been easier to quit, you train your mind to trust itself. That trust creates momentum, and momentum turns into mastery. The persistent mind is not afraid of storms because it understands they are part of the journey to greatness. Persistence also transforms the way you perceive time. A distracted mind looks for quick results. A focused mind values progress over speed. It understands that success unfolds at its own pace. Patience becomes a partner of persistence. Together they create a rhythm of steady progress that cannot be rushed or broken. Each day of consistent effort compounds, building strength in silence. You may not see immediate results, but with each small action, your focus deepens, your confidence grows, and your dream comes closer. The journey may be long, but persistence ensures that every step counts. A persistent mind also learns to find power in repetition. Doing the same thing over and over may seem dull, but mastery lives in repetition. Every day you practice discipline, you refine your focus. Every moment you choose to persist, you are reprogramming your subconscious to believe that success is inevitable. Persistence isn't loud. It's quiet, consistent, and determined. It doesn't need applause. It needs purpose. And as the days pass, what once felt impossible begins to feel natural. What once required effort becomes a part of who you are. Persistence and focus together form an unstoppable force. They create momentum that even failure cannot destroy. The person who persists with clarity will always outlast the one who only works with enthusiasm. When the storms of life come, and they always do, the persistent mind does not run. It stands firm, grounded in purpose, patient in progress, and unwavering in faith. The path may be difficult, but persistence makes it possible. Every great success story is written by someone who refused to quit. The power of persistence is simple. When your focus becomes stronger than your frustration, nothing can stop you. Discipline is the silent architect of a focused life. It is not born from inspiration or emotion, but from consistent action repeated over time. Many people wait for motivation to begin, believing they must feel ready before taking the first step. But the truth is, discipline begins when motivation ends. It is the force that carries you forward when enthusiasm fades. The focused mind understands that success is not a product of occasional bursts of effort, but of steady, deliberate commitment. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's choosing progress over comfort, growth over ease, and purpose over distraction. Without discipline, even the strongest focus will scatter under pressure. With discipline, even the smallest effort can turn into greatness. Every great achievement is built on a foundation of small, consistent habits. These habits form the invisible structure of discipline. Waking up early, practicing gratitude, planning your day, avoiding procrastination, each of these choices shapes your mental environment. They may seem minor, but over time they rewire your mind for focus and productivity. The key is consistency. The mind thrives on rhythm and routine. When you train it to act with discipline daily, it no longer resists effort. It begins to crave it. You stop debating whether to act, to simply do. Discipline replaces hesitation with momentum, and once momentum is built, success becomes inevitable. Discipline also requires emotional control. The focused mind cannot afford to be ruled by impulses or moods. Feelings are temporary, but focus demands permanence. There will be days when distractions seem irresistible, when your emotions scream for comfort or escape. In those moments, discipline becomes your shield. It allows you to act based on decisions, not emotions. The disciplined person learns to delay gratification, to sacrifice temporary comfort for long-term reward. They understand that pleasure gained too easily often costs too much. Discipline creates inner strength by teaching the mind that not every impulse deserves action. It cultivates patience, clarity, and endurance, the very qualities that sustain focus under pressure. But discipline is not about punishment or rigidity. It is about alignment. When your actions align with your values and goals, discipline becomes freedom, not restriction. You are no longer pulled in different directions by conflicting desires. You move with purpose, knowing that every step you take brings you closer to your vision. This sense of direction brings peace. There is no wasted energy, no scattered attention, just deliberate movement toward growth. Discipline transforms chaos into order, turning everyday routines into stepping stones for greatness. The mind that learns discipline learns to command itself, and a mind that commands itself can command anything. Discipline also strengthens self-respect. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust within your own mind. You prove to yourself that your word has power. That inner trust becomes confidence, and confidence amplifies focus. You no longer depend on external validation because you know your worth through your own actions. The disciplined mind doesn't need to announce its strength. It lives it quietly, consistently, unshakably. Every task completed, every temptation resisted, every goal pursued adds another layer to your self-belief. Discipline, in essence, is self-love expressed through action. It is the decision to invest in your future rather than indulge in fleeting comfort. When discipline and focus unite, they create transformation. Life becomes simpler, not because challenges disappear, but because your mind stops negotiating with excuses. You act because it aligns with who you are, not because you feel like it. The world begins to bend toward your consistency. People who once doubted you start to notice your quiet progress, and you begin to realize that discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about showing up, doing your best, and refusing to break the promise you made to your goals. A disciplined and focused mind doesn't chase success. It attracts it naturally through effort, integrity, and unwavering commitment. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for developing a focused mind. It transforms abstract dreams into mental blueprints for achievement. When you visualize with clarity, your subconscious mind begins to believe that your vision is already real. This belief changes your behavior, your energy, and even your decisions. The focused mind uses visualization not as wishful thinking, but as deliberate creation. Every thought you hold vividly in your imagination plants a seed in your reality. When you repeatedly see yourself succeeding, your mind begins to act in alignment with that image. You start to attract opportunities, ideas, and actions that move you closer to your goals. This is not magic. It is the science of focus. The mind cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is actually experienced. So when you consistently visualize success, your brain prepares for it as if it has already happened. However, visualization without focus is just daydreaming. The power lies not only in seeing the goal, but in feeling it deeply. You must engage every sense, see the details, hear the sounds, feel the emotions of accomplishment. The more real the image becomes in your mind, the more powerfully it shapes your reality. A focused mind uses visualization as a daily practice. It spends time each morning or night picturing the desired outcome with precision and passion. It imagines the process, not just the result. This repetition creates a neural pathway of certainty. Over time, doubt fades and confidence grows. You begin to move with purpose because your mind has already rehearsed your success hundreds of times before it manifests in reality. Visualization also strengthens resilience. When you face setbacks or obstacles, returning to your mental image of success helps you stay aligned with your vision. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, you refocus on what you are moving toward. This practice reprograms the mind to stay forward-facing. It stops you from drowning in temporary defeat because you've already seen the bigger picture. The focused mind doesn't allow failure to rewrite its vision. It uses failure to refine it. When you visualize the journey with its challenges and triumphs alike, you prepare yourself mentally for perseverance. You understand that obstacles are not signs to quit, but steps to grow stronger. Visualization turns uncertainty into conviction. The power of visualization also lies in emotion. The mind responds to feelings more than to logic. When you visualize with genuine emotion, when you feel gratitude, excitement, and belief, you activate your subconscious on a deeper level. That emotional energy amplifies your focus. It creates a magnetic pull between your current reality and your desired future. The more intense the emotion, the faster your subconscious moves to close that gap. That is why belief is essential. If you visualize without belief, your mind resists. But when belief and emotion align with your vision, your focus becomes unstoppable. You begin to live as though your dream is already unfolding, and life starts to mirror that energy back to you. Visualization also enhances clarity. Many people struggle because their goals are vague. They want success, happiness, or abundance, but cannot define what that truly means. A focused mind visualizes specifics. It knows exactly what it wants, H, how it feels, and what steps are required to reach it. That clarity acts like a compass, directing energy toward the right actions. Without it, focus scatters across too many directions. Visualization brings that focus back into one beam of intention. When you know what your destination looks like, every decision becomes simpler. You stop wasting energy on distractions and start investing it where it matters. When practiced consistently, visualization turns focus into manifestation. It aligns your thoughts, emotions, and actions into one powerful current of intention. You stop waiting for things to happen and begin to create them from the inside out. The focused mind understands that reality begins in the imagination. Everything great, every invention, every movement, every success was once just a vision in someone's mind. Visualization is not fantasy, it is preparation. It is the act of building your future twice, first in the mind, then in the world. The clearer you see it within, the faster it becomes visible without. A focused mind doesn't hope, it envisions, believes, and acts until the invisible becomes inevitable. The power of thought is the origin of all transformation. Every experience you live begins as a single idea in your mind. The way you think determines the way you act, and the way you act determines the quality of your life. A focused mind understands that thoughts are not random. They are creative forces. Every belief, every assumption, every expectation is shaping the reality you step into. Most people underestimate the power of their inner dialogue. They allow negative, fearful, and limiting thoughts to dominate their mental space without realizing that those thoughts are quietly constructing their future. If your mind constantly entertains doubt, fear, or lack, then your life will reflect those same patterns. But if your thoughts are disciplined, positive, and purpose-driven, your external world begins to reorganize itself to match your inner clarity. The mind is both the seed and the soil. Whatever you plant will eventually grow. To develop a focused and powerful mind, you must first become aware of your thoughts. Awareness is the gateway to change. You cannot control what you are not conscious of. Begin to observe your inner dialogue without judgment. Notice how often your mind wanders into worry, comparison, or negativity. Once you identify those patterns, you can replace them with thoughts that serve you. This process is not instant. It is a practice. The focused mind trains itself daily, redirecting unproductive thinking toward empowering beliefs. With time, this becomes second nature. You start to think in alignment with your goals rather than against them. Each intentional thought becomes a building block for a stronger, more focused state of being. The quality of your thoughts also determines the quality of your emotions. Negative thinking breeds anxiety, frustration, and self-doubt. Positive thinking cultivates peace, gratitude, and confidence. Your emotions, in turn, influence your energy, and your energy influences your actions. This is why the focused mind guards its thoughts so carefully. It knows that mental chaos leads to emotional turmoil, which eventually leads to poor decisions. But clarity of thought creates emotional stability, and stability breeds success. You become calm under pressure because your thoughts are no longer scattered. They are centered and controlled. This calmness is not weakness, it is mastery. It is the sign of someone who understands that control over thought is control over life. The focused mind also understands the importance of repetition. One powerful thought repeated with conviction can reshape your entire identity. Affirmations, visualization, and meditation are not just rituals. They are tools for rewiring your subconscious. The subconscious mind doesn't respond to logic, it responds to repetition and emotion. The more consistently you feed it empowering beliefs, the more naturally you act in alignment with them. This is why people who consistently affirm their goals begin to attract circumstances that support those goals. The outer world simply mirrors the inner narrative. If your thoughts say, "I can," your actions will prove it. If your thoughts say, "I can't," your behavior will fulfill that prophecy. You always become what you believe, not what you wish. Another key to mastering thought is learning detachment. Not every thought that enters your mind deserves your attention. The focused mind treats thoughts like clouds. Some pass quickly, some linger, but none define the sky itself. When you detach from unproductive thinking, you stop being controlled by fear or insecurity. You observe your thoughts rather than obey them. That detachment creates space for clarity. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding intentionally. The power of your mind lies not in thinking more, but in thinking better. Focused thought is deliberate thought. It is precise, purposeful, and free from noise. Ultimately, your life becomes a reflection of your dominant mental state. Change your thoughts, and you change your destiny. Every great achievement begins as a shift in thinking, a decision to believe in a greater possibility. The focused mind is aware that thoughts are the architects of reality. It chooses them wisely, nurtures them daily, and protects them fiercely. The more you master your thoughts, the more effortlessly life aligns with your vision. You stop chasing success and begin to attract it naturally, because your inner world and outer world are finally in harmony. The mind is not just a tool, it is the source of creation itself. Whatever you consistently hold in your thoughts with belief and focus must eventually manifest in your life.